while and listen.
And welcome to the Agony of Positivity, the Quarantine Edition. I am Ross.
And I am Saul.
So, due to situations in the real world and at my work, where Steve Carino showed up and paid a visit, we are using the internet again.
Yes. Yeah, and if you're wondering why we're saying Steve Carino instead of the other word, yes, you get penalized if you say it.
The other thing, for some reason.
The other thing, yes.
Whether that's blown out of proportion or not, we're not going to take any chances.
Yeah, so Steve Carino, virus, yep.
Yes. So anyway, other than that, how has your week been?
It's been all right. The one time on Tuesday, this is before it really got chaotic throughout
Crazy.
the later part of the week. Yeah, the beginning of the week, we went to go pick up this rug from this person's house, and as soon as we entered the so we walk up the steps to knock on the door or whatever, and the lady answers the door and then she runs into the kitchen. Like, okay, and she's like, "I'm staying away from you.
What?
I think I'm contagious." And I was like, "Okay, thank you for bringing me to your house."
Yeah, so
While
you've
you're
already been breathing into the house?
Yeah, so we're in the house, and she's like, "I'll just have two rugs for you." I was like, "Okay." So we go over, and as I'm picking it up, she goes, "I hope I don't have Steve Carino."
Right.
And I was like, and I actually said this to her. I was like, "Yeah, I hope you don't have it either."
Oh,
She goes,
man.
"Yeah, it was just, yeah."
So I'm
So
going
that
to...
was,
This is kind of off topic, but I'm going to apologize a little bit. It has started to sleet or hail, and
yeah.
it's hitting the window in the room
Okay,
I'm
all
recording
right.
in. So we might
Yeah.
have some of that. I'm going to try muting as much as I can, but if
I don't
anyone
hear,
wonders...
I don't, I am not
Right.
hearing it, so
Well,
we're good.
hopefully it's not coming through, but if it is, or it sounds like a faint crackling like something's on fire, that's not what is actually going on. So,
Ross is Ross is grilling some hot dogs at his house.
I don't really grill hot dogs. I always just bake them in the oven, and it seems to work
Yeah,
out just fine. And it's the same as
bake 'em in
grilling,
the.
kind of. Like if
Uh,
yeah,
that sounds weird.
it's good. It makes them plump up. They get a little bit crispy. In a perfect
Okay.
world, I would own one of the roller grills from the gas station.
Yeah.
Like
Okay. All right.
once every 2 weeks, it'd be hot dog day, where I'd throw a
Yeah.
couple packs of hot dogs on that, and just throughout the day, eat hot dogs with spicy mustard.
Hey, there you go.
If I win the lottery or am ever super
You
rich, that is something that I would do.
look it up for hot dog rollers.
Yeah, how much one of those is?
Yes.
Let's see. Well, actually, hot dog roller grill. Roller Dog Big 18 stainless steel hot dog roller. It's $109.
It's not as pricey as I thought it was going to be. Actually.
I would never justify paying $109 for that unless money was no option.
Yes. If money's no option, I'm buying you that for Christmas.
I don't know. See, the thing is also in the place I live, I don't know where I would put that. Like, there'd be nowhere to put it. Like, I don't have room
Right.
for a George Foreman grill.
Yeah.
Like, to set it up and, like have the pan underneath and then make it easy to clean. So there's no way I can justify a roller grill that
See,
is dedicated basically to hot dogs. I don't know what else you cook on that thing.
you have never seen The Office, but there's an episode in The Office where Michael likes to wake up with bacon cooking.
Right?
So he says the night before he gets his George Foreman grill, and he puts some bacon on this George Foreman grill, and he says, "I wake up, I start my George Foreman grill, I go back to sleep, and then I wake up again with the with the sounds of freshly cooked bacon." So
that
that's what you could. That's what you could do at your house with the hot dog machine
well,
right by
but
your
with
bed.
the roller grill, you don't even have to turn it on. You just leave it all
Sure.
day. It's a
Yes.
hot dog. It's not. It's not like, oh, this is a low quality hot dog. What am I gonna do?
Yes.
It's
All
a
right.
hot dog.
I think we spent way too much time talking about hot dogs there.
All right. Do you want to get into? I didn't have really anything interesting except for Steve Carino showing up to work and hitting me with a title belt.
Yeah,
You want to get into our wrestling discussion?
Yeah.
So we're gonna do two parts. You want to do our "Give Me What I Want" segment first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go and do that.
Here we go.
I'm in control here, and you're gonna give me what I want. Give me what I want. You know what I want. I've been asking for it, and you're gonna give me what I want.
So hopefully, the first time I used the "Give Me What I Want" with this current setup, I listened back and it was so loud that I threw my earphones away from my face.
Yeah.
So I think I got it fixed, but if it's really loud, sorry about that, but I think it'll be okay. So we had the request for, which it was bizarre when you sent me the text because I actually remembered the match, which makes me sad. But
Really?
Well, I watched an awful lot of Superstars, like anything that was syndicated wrestling that was WWF. I watched a ton of that, and sometimes I would watch the same show, like it'd play on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
So then when you had WCW Worldwide, like there are more than I would ever care to admit things that I just remember for some reason as far as
Yeah.
matches go. Like if I've seen the match, I kind of like with TV shows, like I don't ever need to rewatch them. I can mostly remember what happened. Except
Yeah.
wrestling matches, I will rewatch them because I enjoy them.
Sure.
It's kind of broken in a way, like the mentality behind that. But so we got Tatanka against the Mountie.
Yeah.
And this is the time frame where the Mountie has the super ultra mega shock stick,
Yes.
which I believe is shortly after he was dousing people with buckets of water.
Okay.
Like I don't know if you remember that period.
Not really. No.
I think might have been Bret Hart was the first one he did it to. I could be wrong on that, but I know for a while he would like douse people in water and then use the shock stick because they were soaked in water, so it was worse.
Yeah.
But then he went to the ultra mega shock stick or whatever, and it had its
Where
own
they're
case.
keeping it. Yeah, like it's an old fashioned Tommy gun or
Right.
something. Like you've seen a mob movie or something.
Yeah, it's just it's over the top where it's so powerful you can't use it kind of thing. But I was looking into that because I couldn't remember how long that lasted. It seems like that was a pretty short duration.
So for
the mega one.
So for our listeners that want to watch this match, it's the Tatanka versus the Mountie on Superstars, September 19th, 1992. It's on the WWE Network. So just go under Superstars and you. I just want to say that out there. So
First Tatanka. I don't know how to spell Tatanka. Yeah, if you just do a Google search, it's hilarious because the thing that comes up is Tatanka vs. Mountie, Superstars, September 19th, YouTube Monsoon Classic. But the picture is just the Mountie looking past the middle rope, looking all crazy, which is fantastic.
yes.
So things that make me happy with this match is the Mountie was an awesome bad guy, I thought. Apparently not well liked, and people hated the Mountie. Like, just in general. Like, I was a rare exception that kind of enjoyed him. I thought his theme song was fantastic.
Yes. The thing I liked about the Mountie when he first came out, he takes the microphone and he starts singing this song, and then he tells them to turn off the song just so he can start trying to sing the song again.
Yes, just a cappella.
Yes.
Well, and then you add in, he has Jimmy Hart running around being Jimmy Hart.
Yes. Which is already a huge cartoon character to begin with. Yeah.
Right. Well, we discussed previously, right, where if you were trying to do something, like if we were playing anything competitive, but I had Jimmy Hart on my side, how distracting it would be to you.
Yes.
Like, just game of Hearthstone, but we're like laptop to laptop, like a Battleship or something.
Yeah.
And I have him with a megaphone just screaming and taunting you. It'd be great.
Yes. Yeah.
I wonder if I could ever get good enough at competitive Hearthstone, like the ranked, if I could hire a hype man like Jimmy Hart.
Yes.
Like if I actually showed up with Jimmy Hart and he had my face airbrushed on his jacket, just screaming at Firebat. Or any of those guys.
So Jimmy Hart, he was associated with Hogan, right? Back in the day, right? So when did he become a heel?
He was in WWF, I believe he always was. And then when Hogan went to WCW, I think that's where that kind of came about.
So in WWF, he was never Hogan's manager?
No, I don't think he was ever associated with Hogan. I could be wrong on that, but I don't remember that. I just remember Hogan being associated with, I think it was Freddie Blassie at way, way back. So that one I could be wrong, but I don't ever remember Hogan really having a manager person when I was watching. So, but I mean, who knows? Like going back to like Japan or something where he was using the axe bomber finisher.
Yes,
probably wishes he had. So Tatanka comes out, interrupts the Mountie. Did you notice how tan Tatanka was?
Yes,
he had a very nice tan. I know there's other podcasts where they talk about tans all the time. I think it's Brother Love and Conrad. But you gotta admit, Tatanka looked good with the tan.
He did.
Like the turquoise of the tights really really meshes with the tan.
I liked Tatanka's theme song. I liked his outfit. I just liked his whole gimmick. He was a good character.
Was his finisher just the follow, or not the follow away, but like a Samoa slam?
I guess.
I thought he took him up like fireman's carry and then to the backdrop, but it was different than IRS's. Hold on, we'll find out because I don't remember. Finisher. Let's see here. The Waikiki. What? Here we go. This is not going to be Pro Wrestling Fandom. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I could have swore it was a like a Samoan drop type thing. But maybe not. I'm trying to find. I'd try to play a video. Oh, either way. Doesn't matter. I'd try to play a video, but I'd get a video ad for a mattress that is resistant to Steve Corino. And 9 years later, we'd still be watching it as I kept hitting refresh. But,
yes.
All right. So anyway, we'll get to the actual match.
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed... So, well, I'll let, because I think you probably had stronger opinion on the match than me. What was your thoughts of it?
So, So the only thing I can describe this match that if it remind me of why I was watching it. Did you watch the old Looney Tunes cartoon?
Yeah, a lot.
Okay, Coyote and the Roadrunner is what this reminded me of.
Where the Mountie was his own downfall.
Yeah, the Mountie is the Coyote, and Tatanka is the Roadrunner. The Mountie is just complete idiot. I mean, the entire match.
Yeah, like getting to the end part of the match, but we'll kind of back up. Is Mountie hits a pile driver, and for whatever reason, decides that it's time to sing his intro again.
Yes,
which made zero sense.
Yeah, he decided that was the time. You know what?
He knows he's got to beat
my song because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, and then it goes under from there. But so the whole match, like, I don't know that there's like crowd sweetening or anything to this, but the crowd was super into the match.
Yeah.
So, we've been tricked by WWF and their audio editing, but
See, I don't think it was with this match. I think the fans were really into it because,
Well, I remember being super into Tatanka.
yes,
Like he
because
wasn't
he's
like,
awesome.
yeah, he wasn't like my favorite guy, but
Hmm.
he was very energetic.
Yes.
Like he came across real good, and he was built up. You know, like they did like they were talking about the streak that he was on. Like that was a big
Hmm.
deal. And I don't know, something about just his whole thing was like, oh yeah, Tatanka's awesome. And then I don't even think he ever had the Intercontinental title, and it seems like he should have.
Well, and that's the other thing I liked about this match was that his undefeated streak was basically his title, and that's all he needed.
Right.
and the Mountie could have took it from him, but because he's such a cartoon character,
Right.
decided
Well, yeah, because
decided, you know what?
we got the super
Yeah.
shock stick that he decides to try to use, and
Yes.
he uses all the grace of I don't know if you've ever seen where the Barbarian tries to stab the Undertaker after Undertaker turned good guy, and
Uh-huh.
he's just really not good at it. That's what this felt like, except it was Tatanka and the frickin' Mountie.
Yes. It was good. I mean, I've enjoyed it. They did a really good job telling the story because I
Well,
don't know. Did they have a feud after this or?
I do not believe so. I think this was my recollection is it was a one-off. Like
Okay.
I don't remember. Tatanka didn't have a ton of feuds straight away, like while he still had like the streak going or whatever. But I mean,
Yeah.
all his matches were good. Because I think he had a match against Shawn Michaels, I believe, where he won by countout, or there's I can't remember 100%, and I might be wrong on that one.
Hmm.
Do you remember when Tatanka joined the $1 Million Corporation?
Oh, they turned him heel.
So him and Luger, Lex, the Lexcellence of Lexecution. Uh, him and Tatanka were friends at one point, and there's some kind of, I don't know what you would call it, like discussion or concern that Lex was going to join the $1 Million Corporation, and it ended up being
Okay.
Tatanka joining it, and it was like a swerve.
Gotcha.
It's almost like it was a swerve for the sake of being a swerve. Like
Gotcha.
doesn't really make sense that Tatanka would. They might have explained it, but I can't remember that much into it. But yeah, so he was actually a bad guy at one point, and then Tatanka came back. Do you remember by any chance the Royal Rumble that he showed up in?
No.
There was a
I
more
do
recent Rumble, and he was actually in it and did really good. Like it was surprising, like how well he performed. So
Was he still over like he was in there in this match?
I mean, people cheered for him for sure.
Yeah.
So But-
I don't think turning this character into a bad guy would. I don't think that's a good idea.
well, I mean, he just seemed like a likable dude. So
Yeah.
But yeah, so like Tatanka ends up winning this match by DQ. They're talking about the Mountie's going to be kicked out of the WWE if they see him try to use the shock stick.
Yes.
I did look up the first time he used the Ultra Instinct shock stick, and it was against Sergeant Slaughter. Like Slaughter and Flair were having a match, and he
Okay.
shocks. It almost looks like he's really shocking Sergeant Slaughter up in the turnbuckle. And then
Yeah.
I assume Ric Flair went on to win that match. Not that Sergeant Slaughter was ever winning that match in that day and age, but
Yeah.
that was the first use of it. And then I assume that's where it was Jack Tunney or Gorilla Monsoon, whoever's running things, was like, you can't do that anymore.
So I am watching this match as we talk, and I like before they lock up, the Mountie starts shaking his arms up in the air,
Oh, where he was
And even
mocking
McMahon-
Tatanka?
and even McMahon's like, "What is he doing? Is he trying to fly?" and then right before they lock up, he starts dancing. I mean,
He was mocking the war dance.
yes. I mean, the Mountie did such a great job at like just making the fans hate him here.
As a culturally insensitive bad guy.
Yes, I don't think this character would go over well nowadays, but
Well,
back then, man.
What's
That's
funnier is when I was little, as a result of the Mountie, basically,
Mhm.
I had the impression that Canadians were horrible people.
Okay.
Fast forward to today, where this Canadian stereotype is they're overly friendly.
Yes.
I mean, when you hold the door open for someone and it's too far away, it's called a Canadian standoff because it's one person holding it too far away, the other has to run to try to be trying to out-polite someone is associated with Canada. But the Mountie was my childhood reference for what happens in Canada.
I would like to know what a Canadian did to Vince McMahon, because it seems like Canada and Vince McMahon, I don't know. Like you said,
I mean, there's that
he
one
makes them
that
out
tried
to be.
leave with his world title, so he had to get it off him.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's just funny.
You know, actually, I probably had that opinion until. Do you remember the show Due South?
Yes.
It had the Mountie that also had Pharaoh in it, I assume?
Yes.
I assume that was Pharaoh, just time travel.
Yeah. Yes.
That probably changed my opinion of Mounties. If it weren't for that, though, I'd probably still have a negative opinion of Mounties. So,
yes.
But did you? So because you have it on right now, like while we're talking,
Yep.
did you notice though, like the match was interesting? They didn't do anything. Like from move wise, there's almost no moves done.
Oh yeah, because
but I was still engaged like the entirety of the time.
They were very good at telling a story, and I think WWE needs to go back and watch their old stuff and realize. Now, why were we so good back then? Because I just think they had better characters. I don't know.
It could be because like you said, like Tatanka's got the streak. That's a big deal. Mm-hmm. The Mountie's being a jerk, so now you want to see the Mountie get beat. And
you got Jimmy Hart on the outside jumping up and down like a madman.
Yes,
screaming.
You could have probably just said you have Jimmy Harding, and just verbed him. But yeah, I mean, because there's been a few things that we've watched that were older, and I'll occasionally I just watch random old stuff, and they do so little. Like when you're done watching the match, you're like, wait a minute, they did a suplex, a backdrop, and some hip tosses. And I think that was it, other than like some submission holds. But I was super into the whole match. Which is basically what Hogan sold for 30 minutes, and then he big boot leg dropped, and that was it.
Yeah.
But it was enthralling.
Well, it's funny. So, yeah, I mean, if you take this match, I mean, and the fans were way into this match. If you put an AEW match and with this crowd, they would be like, "Oh my God, what is happening?" They would lose their mind.
Well, yeah. Could you imagine giving that crowd the Bucks and the Kenny and Omega match?
Oh yeah, they would lose it. They'd be like, "Oh my God, this is the best thing ever."
Just the first like 5 minutes of that match where Hangman spit on Matt. And I don't know. That part of that match is still. I've watched that match like 3 times now, thinking that I'll be less impressed by it, but knowing the story to it, really helps. Yeah.
All right, so now I'm at the point where he does his pile driver.
Yes, and it's over.
It's over. He has beaten Tatanka, but no, he asks for the microphone and says, "I am the Mountie."
It doesn't make any sense.
It's great.
Like that would be my only complaint. That is just the most ridiculous thing. And Jimmy Hart should have stopped him if he's his manager. But pro wrestling, so.
But the Mountie is an idiot, and that's what he does. He likes.
He was a super successful United States champion, or not United States. Oh my lord, Intercontinental champion.
Yeah.
Which was perfect because that was back with the black and gold with the red top. Excellent. So.
So now he's Tatanka. He gets up and he's making his recovery and he's chopping them and
that wasn't a recovery. He just outright no sells everything and just is up.
Oh no!
The voice of the Mountie irritated him.
Like McMahon says, he was playing possum.
No, you don't play possum to a pile driver. Like, that's not how that works.
Yes. So yeah, so he beats the he beats the Mountie by a DQ, which I think is kind of dumb. He probably should have beat him with a pin, but whatever.
Right. Yeah, they might have been trying to. I don't know what exactly they were doing. I'd have to watch follow up stuff to remember, or even know. But either way, like, Tatanka gets his revenge.
Yeah.
I did like the part where he tried to sneak up on Tatanka, and
Yes.
then I think it was like McMahon was like, "You can't sneak up on a Native American," or what, like
Yeah.
some really ridiculous thing about like how good at being sneaky Tatanka is,
Yes.
or stealthy. Like, I don't know what it was intending to talk about, but it just came across that way.
Yes. So overall, I really enjoyed the match. Like I said, I was not invested into Tatanka's storyline at all, but just watching this, I mean, this match caught me up to what was happening. That his streak was really important to him, and yeah,
Right.
it was just really good
Well,
storytelling by
and the
WWF.
crowd helped out.
Yep.
So on that note, so yeah, I felt the same way. Like, it was not the greatest match I've ever seen, but it was a real good match. Like, the time went by real quick. I was kind of sad that it ended. Yeah, like, you're hoping for a little bit more, or I wish there would have been a good conclusion to it, like, like a definitive win or loss. But all right, you ready to go to the normal wrestling stuff?
Yeah.
All right, so you're not going to hear this, but I'll let you know when it's over.
Oh, gotcha.
This is a revolution.
All right, so we got we might as well just talk about this because Steve Corino has gotten into every building related to sports and has just destroyed every contract apparently, and you can't have live audiences anywhere. So we were mentioning the crowd with the Tatanka and the Mountie match.
Mm-hmm.
Let's mention the lack of crowd at SmackDown and what I'm assuming is going to be for Raw and AEW this coming week.
I think for the next 2 weeks at least.
Right, like, it's definitely going to throw a kink in the works for sure, which does suck, but it's understandable for the situation. So, what did you think of SmackDown with no audience?
It took me out of me being into the wrestling world, I guess, and like pretending that this is actually, they're actually fighting each other. They really hate each other or whatever, and it just made me see what it really is. It's just bad actors doing athletic moves.
All right. Now, do you think if they would have had... So, like, I don't want to criticize it too much because that's a heck of a curveball to be thrown.
And they're doing the best they can.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, so Raw, here's my prediction, is Raw's going to be better, and then by the time you get to AEW, if they do the same thing, they're probably going to be better off too, because they're going to be able to see what WWE did. And, like, when you're watching it, it's like, like, them coming out doing their full entrance stuff for the opening stuff, like, it was just weird. Like, the interactions were weird to me. It seems like you'd be better off to go, and I mean, you had Triple H and Cole doing your commentary, and Triple H was trying to keep things light, and I don't know if that was the right route to go.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense, because I could see where, let's say, like the Daniel Bryan and the Cesaro match felt really short, but say you put on, and that whole thing, the show opens up, backstage promo with, we'll go back in time to Elimination Chamber. You do Gulak and Bryan, and you do a little promo, and then they come out, and it's just like full on a match, treated like a serious match kind of thing. And then the match those guys can put on, where it's more a mat wrestling based kind of match, I think that would fit better for a no audience show.
Yeah.
I don't know if people watching it would be as entertained as I would, though. Like, I'm, obviously, like, I'm in a niche, I guess you could say, for some of that stuff. But
well, I would say that we're not casual fans.
Right.
So,
well, yeah, and I can get into a match where nothing happens. Like, I still think, the Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels Iron Man match. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah.
So, like, the beginning where they work the side headlock for 20 minutes of that match, it feels like, I'm totally fine with that. If it's done in a good way, I don't think a lot of people are going to watch something like that. So, it's understandable that you're trying to do the most entertaining thing possible. My selfish desires are let the people who are excellent mat wrestlers go out there and then, do their thing. But you're probably going to get a lot of people flipping channels, I would think, at that point.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the problem with WWE and AEW. I think the casual fans are just going to be like, yeah, this is.
Well, I think WWE is going to suffer more because I think the AEW fans might just watch it regardless, or NXT. Like, I think both of those, like, those two shows will probably be, I would expect maybe the same or maybe even better, really, because you might get more crossover. But yeah, I mean, overall, like, what they did, like, I see what you're saying, though. Like, some of the stuff in the match, like the opening match for sure, it's just like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, it just came across as real weird, but I liked it in the sense that it is so different from what you would expect.
Yeah, it's different than what you normally see, yeah.
And again, they're like, well, what do we do? Here's what we're doing. We're doing a show with no audience. Let's see what we can do. So, definitely good, like, I was impressed that on super short notice, in the middle of your build to WrestleMania, just rolling with it and doing whatever you can. So
I think it's neat because, like, for example, like NASCAR tomorrow is doing a race with no stands with no fans in the audience. Right. I think I will watch that. I have no interest in NASCAR whatsoever, but I want to see
what it's like.
The stadium empty. Yeah, just to see it. Like, wow, this is weird.
Well, I think
type thing.
NASCAR is probably going to be the least different out of any sport.
Sure. So, and what I'm trying to say is, like, I think, like, for example, like WWE, I think they should use that for their advantage.
Yeah.
For, like, WrestleMania, if they had, because it sounded like WrestleMania is going to be an empty stadium, basically.
Well, because hasn't basically the city or state, I don't know what the jurisdiction is on it, but it sounds like if the WWE doesn't do something, that they might just outright cancel it themselves. Like, they have the power to do that.
Yeah, Tampa, I think they said Tampa was pretty much going to say, well, if you don't do something, we will keep you from doing it, type thing. So,
right. Well, I mean, if you're canceling everything else, it's also going to suck, though, because there's a lot of people who travel for WrestleMania. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much shut down for travel at the moment. Yeah. So you're going to have, it's going to be a weird situation.
But that's what I'm trying to say here. Because that would be the one WrestleMania where you're watching, and there'll be no fans in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
So you could actually make that a part of the prop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would be so people going back in like years from now. Oh, that was a WrestleMania where there's nobody in the stadium. You know. I don't know.
Do they change the? You know how they stopped using numbers for whatever reason? And it's just like symbols now. Do they come up with do they change it from WrestleMania Pirate Ship to WrestleMania 0 or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, but like with WrestleMania, like the whole point of WrestleMania is it's a big spectacle.
Sure.
Is it worth doing it if you don't have the crowd there?
All I can say is it's too bad that Bailey is a bad guy right now. Because what they could do is they could have those blow up
everywhere.
thing.
All right, Bailey. Just wacky inflatable tube men everywhere.
Be great. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
I think AEW and WWE probably need to maybe bring the wrestlers out and have them out there in the audience. Maybe
yeah, like do some
I don't
kind
know.
of, I don't know, maybe we'll get something either on Raw, or we got Raw, NXT, AEW for sure, and then I'm assuming the next week will be the same way. But I'm guessing by the time this is over, between the shows working on it, we're going to end up with a pretty good format for a audienceless show.
Yeah.
Like that'll work. Because I mean, WWE should be able to figure it out, but I think you also have, they know that AEW is going to try to do something, and although I don't think there's like direct
I want to say
competition.
I want to say AEW has the advantage, maybe because they actually have a stadium that they can
Right.
use anytime they want.
Right.
So,
Well, I would assume they would use center stage if they can.
yeah,
But they're
all the day at the Daly's place.
or yeah, Daly's place. Yeah, like because that building, that's a sweet building. So if you do something with no crowd, at least you have like a unique setup.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that would
That's
be my
what.
thought.
Well, see, but they could also play it up. They do in the Jacksonville
Jack-
Jaguar Stadium. They'd be like, "Well, see, we could have filled this up, but we're not allowed to have people in here." So,
Or like,
you know what I'm saying?
they're like, we are setting the record for the largest capacity building with zero audience.
Yes.
Like just something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then have like an entire
Really
big
just
deal
play it
about
up.
that. That would be funny, actually. Like,
Yeah.
because they would have, yeah, if they ever get to where they can do like a reasonable full stadium show, the fact that they have access to the Jag Stadium should probably be amazing. And then overseas, they would have access, I assume, to wherever Fulham plays.
Mm-hmm.
So good for them. But yeah, I think we're going to have an interesting week of potentially some of the worst televised wrestling we've ever seen in our lives, or some of the most creative stuff that will be mind-blowing.
I don't know. We still have TNA stuff out there, so
I just can't get into TNA. I wish I could. NWA Power,
no,
I
no,
can get into them.
no. You were saying some of the worst wrestling that we've ever seen. That's what I was saying. No,
You're
there's
just-
some TNA stuff out there.
That's harsh. I haven't watched them enough to criticize that heavily, but yeah. So let's move on from the zero fan wrestling. I want to mention something. I sent you a link to this before we get into AEW, but since he is with them, there is, it looks like it was just posted March 13th this year. I don't know if this is a legit thing. I got it on mine, but it's basically an in-ring Dean Malenko seminar where it's 2 hours and 44 minutes. So I don't know. I'm assuming it's like actually like just someone filmed like a seminar that he does that you can watch at this point. So if anyone's a big Dean Malenko fan or is just curious of what a wrestling type seminar would be, this could be something that you could look for. So I'm gonna watch it because I'm a huge.
Is this the seminar that Cody was talking about that some of the AEW wrestlers watched?
It could be where he had mentioned that Dean had one. So I don't know if that will be this one, because this says 2019. So
Gotcha.
it could very well be that Dean just does this kind of thing. And if you have a brain, you would watch it. Like, as far as, like, being a wrestler, like, from a how to be a wrestler in the ring, not the personality part, no. I don't think anyone's ever been like, Mr. Malenko, could you please help me get...
On my promo skills.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, tell them you'll send them to Texas, and that's all you got to do.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I'm going to watch it later today, probably, since I'm not going anywhere. All right, so we got AEW. So this is the only show that I watched in earnest this week, where I went out of my way, and I even went back and watched a couple things that I missed. Did you have any thoughts in the front of it?
So I want to say that during the show is when a lot of the chaos was happening, so I was getting a lot of news updates on my phone,
Yeah,
so I couldn't enjoy it like I normally could.
right,
But I will say that it was just an all right Dynamite. It wasn't nothing spectacular.
right. Well,
It was
it
just
felt like it was more building to War Games.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not calling it what they're calling it because I think it's dumb.
Yeah.
But so yeah, they start out like the big mystery of the night was going to be Hangman Page's partner, which I wasn't sure who it would be because who knows what their plan was.
Yeah.
But like just kind of going through here, you kicked off with Ortiz against Cody. My big thing from that is how insane Ortiz's hair was during this match.
Okay, yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
always that out of hand?
Yeah.
Okay, so for some reason, maybe because it was a singles match, it stuck out more to me. I hope when he gets his action figure that he
Yeah.
has lifelike hair. Like Beast Man or whatever from He-Man. Like, I don't know if you remember the furry toy that you couldn't use with the slime pit, but that's what I want out of Ortiz. And then give him like that one weird WWE toys where it's sweat, where you can put some water in him, and then his hair will get less poofy as the match goes on.
Yeah, Proud and Powerful has really they've done a really good job in AEW. As far as and AEW's done a lot to make them be big stars.
Right. Well, and I remember you had mentioned early on, because they lost pretty much right out the gate a few matches that it seems like maybe they should have won. But it seems like being an Inner Circle, they've definitely kept their stock pretty high.
Yep.
Like they seem, even though they've lost, they still seem dangerous. And again, like since they've actually, and this is commendable to them, I guess, because I saw there's a video about where like things that AEW said they were going to do, but they haven't in like the more sports-like feel. And I would agree that like that in particular, it's a lot more like pro wrestling, but it still feels a little different. They have kept the ranking system though, which since they've kept that and they pretty much have, they haven't done anything super insane with it where you're like, oh come on, like that I've seen yet. At most it's been like, well, yeah, I could see that, because I mean from college football, there's all kinds of times where you're like, these ratings are stupid because this team, like you can argue against it. So it's been stuff where you could argue it, but you could also argue for it. So they haven't thrown it out the window. So that, you know, anyone's just a couple wins away from you giving them some credibility. So far, again, that 6 months from now, this could be a very different conversation for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, I was like, to Proud and Powerful to begin with, but at this point, they're one of my more favorite acts. I do think Ortiz does the tiger stance taunt too much, but I understand someone who plays No Mercy, he's getting that special up. So, but like when he just like starts screaming the best over and over, or some of the other stuff that he does, or like I don't know if it's like the dead fish splash or the plank splash or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a day where him and Orange Cassidy are on the same team, and they both do something similar to that. I have the feeling.
Well, and there's been a couple of interviews I've listened to him talk, and he said that before he was restricted on some of the stuff that he could do in like his wrestling matches, and I think it was that shot at TNA. He says in AEW he's just going to have fun. He wants a character that's just fun to watch, and I think you see that in his matches. He's just having fun with the characters.
Well, yeah, and he does, like when he just yells at the camera, it's usually entertaining, but it comes across like, since he's a bad guy, it comes across like, this guy is a dirtbag. I hate him.
Yes.
You want to see him get beat. So I guess the big thing out of this is because Cody wins. You got Coach Arn, you got normal Brandy Rhodes still, so that's fantastic. But Jake the Snake and Lance Archer show up. So
so I would say this is probably would be my negative to this. To me, I didn't like it. I just thought it was kind of weird. I don't know. It just like, oh, here they are. They're in the audience. I don't
Uh,
know.
yeah, I mean, it
I was,
wasn't the most impactful thing ever, that's for sure.
mm-mm.
But they didn't drag it out, so they're just like, all right, this is where we're going with it. Now, my question
Yeah.
is Archer going to change his finisher to be a DDT?
Yeah, that would make sense. Well, and some of the
And if they
rumors that I've
do,
been,
I want montage of Jake showing him the DDT to make
yes,
his DDT better. Maybe I will
Huh?
get what I want, where it shows someone taking a move that's not a finisher, showing them
Mhm.
perfect it, other than Jericho with the back elbow, and
Yeah,
building it up into being a big deal. Then I'll get my
yeah,
figure four with rebar. It's ultimately what I want.
yeah. I like the rumor that they said that Archer and Jake the Snake is going to be like a Bizarro Arn, and I think Jake
Arn
the
and Cody.
Snake and Arn. What did I say?
Yeah, I know what you meant. Like basically
Yeah,
like the mirror, the nightmare version. Haha,
yeah,
nightmare.
yes,
The nightmare to the nightmare.
yeah.
Yeah, it should be
Because
interesting.
good. Yep. Because I believe eventually we're going to see Arn and Jake the Snake do something with each other.
Like some kind of, I don't know if they'd have a match. I don't know what they would do, but
Well, no, no, yeah, I don't think they're going to have a match. I'm just talking about like they're in Cody's feud with Archer. I think they're going to like punch each other or something.
but,
You know.
I mean, you should get a pretty good promo out of both of them if they
Yes.
need it. But I mean, Cody can talk fine. I don't know too much about Archer as far as like when he talks.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about that. I've just seen his New Japan stuff, and that's usually at like a Wrestle Kingdom or something where I just see the match and a little bit of build up to
So
it, like not the.
so you're a pretty loyal WWE person. Do you remember him in WWE?
Was he in WWE?
Yes, yes, he was.
Who?
As he was Hoyt, Lance Hoyt, or something like that.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I had no idea.
Okay, apparently he
Apparently,
didn't make an impact on.
no, not at all. Well, apparently New Japan was much better for him than WWE was.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. So yeah, so we get like a bunch of nothing. We get more once the match is over. You get more people coming in. Where Santana, who is a genius for wearing sunglasses most of the time, as opposed to Moxley always wearing the eye patch. I wonder if
Yep.
Mox is like, I wish I would have thought of that because that's way easier for when I'm not
Yes.
getting beat up.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so there's a big fight there, and then you get where poor Nick Jackson
Yeah.
got a garage door slammed on his head to where it made him chew oddly.
Yes, apparently Jericho and the Inner Circle committed murder.
Well, because as soon as they were talking, I was like, I wonder if they took somebody out, and I wasn't sure who it would have been. And
Uh-oh.
it turns out that it was Nick, which made sense. So I'm wondering if that has more to do, if that was like the plan from the get go, or since he has like a baby on the way,
Uh-huh.
like if that's just that happened sooner than we thought, and they're getting him out of it. Because I'm assuming, well, I don't know, because I kind of wondered if they actually had planned to promote it as the Elite versus the
Yeah.
Inner Circle, and then actually have the Inner Circle pick some of them off and get other
Well,
people
I-
involved.
Yeah, I think that was the original plan then with his wife and everything. And also I think they forgot, or maybe like, oh yeah, Dustin, you were
In one of
actually
these-
in a War Games. So maybe this is their way of putting Dustin into a War Games, you know.
Right. Well, because I could almost see, since I'm assuming Kenny's hand injury is a legitimate injury, and
Yeah.
if there's like if they take him out of it, you could replace him with Moxley.
Mhm.
Like if you wanted to get Moxley involved in it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would probably. Yeah, I don't know, because I guess it would kind of work. I don't know.
like,
I don't know what
'Cause,
you could do.
I wonder. I'm just curious, like what the plan is. Like if it was like we're going to promote it as the Elite, But what we're really going to do is we're going to have the Inner Circle pick some of the people off, and we're going to kind of mix it up. But it would make sense to get Dustin in there. Unless he was like, no, that's all right. No. I'm old. I don't need to be in this thing.
Yeah.
You guys can, as Arn Anderson would say, you guys can fall out of the ceiling on each other all you want in that thing.
Yes.
He was watching Elimination Chamber and saw the shooting star from the top on the guys. He was like, yeah, someone's going to try to do something like that in this thing, and I don't want any part of that.
Sure.
All right. But yeah, so the one thing I loved about the next part where they were taking Nick to the hospital is when Cody was going to get into the car without, like, in his gear with no shirt, but Brandy ran up to him and gave him like a jacket or something.
Yes.
That was probably, like, that entire time I'm watching him walk to the car, I'm like, you can't just go to the hospital in your gear. Like, they're not going to let you in there without a shirt. Where are you going to get a shirt? And then she ran up and gave him, I was like, thank God. Because that would have ruined that segment for me.
Gotcha.
Because I would have been
See,
like...
I totally didn't even notice that.
It's because I notice really stupid things.
Sure.
Like,
but
like the rest of pro wrestling
things...
is fine, but a guy going to the hospital without a shirt? No, can't have it.
But those little things add up, though, you know. So
Right. Well, it's just the attention to detail, I guess. But yeah, so we get, and they did call it a medical facility, so not the hospital.
yes.
Trying to think here. So the next thing, they had the tag match, the women's tag match, where you got Sheeta, Statlander, Priestley, Nyla. I liked it, but that was about it. I mean, it wasn't the greatest thing ever, but it looks like everybody's after Nyla.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you have?
I think we're going to see a lot more of B.
Yeah.
Because where she wrestles over there in Japan, Steve Corino is really devastating the crowds over there.
Yeah.
So I think
He's showing up and bleeding all over him.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to see more of B. So maybe that's what they're doing. The next big feud for the next pay-per-view is.
Do you remember when
Native...
all Steve Corino did was just bleed in ECW?
Yes.
Like, basically, he just came out and then bled.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that. We get at first, I thought it was going to be a Dark Order vignette, but it was really Christopher Daniel doing a weird vignette to prove that there is no Exalted One somehow.
And then they followed that up with, we'll see the Exalted One next week.
Yeah,
which I wonder, do you push that back now? Surely you're not going to introduce the Exalted One
to nobody.
An empty stadium. Yeah.
Well, you control the narrative because you don't have to worry about the crowd crapping all over it if they don't like it.
It's true. It's true. But I can't see them. I mean, let's just say that Matt Hardy is the Exalted One.
Well, or Zenith.
Yeah, whatever. You're not going to introduce. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, they might just to do it, because it seems like everybody thinks it's going to be a version of Matt Hardy, and it does seem like they just do what, like when the storylines point in a direction, they don't do the completely unnecessary swerve to it. So I think if it's Matt Hardy, you could still just do it, and people are going to be into it. But if it's not Matt Hardy, and it's going to be kind of like a little bit out there thing, then maybe you hold off on it. Like maybe they show up, but they're under a hood or something.
Yeah.
And you build some tension that way. I don't know. But
yeah, I'm still saying it's Brody Lee.
That's I mean, that's fine. I still want him to be like clean cut in a suit or something strange, but I don't know if he has any desire to do any of that.
Yeah, who knows?
Let me see here. So we got, following that up, we got as the one, I saw someone on I think it was Orange Cassidy on Twitter where it was like, you got a whole bunch of people with "the" in the name for the Butcher, the Blade, the Bunny, and then MJF against Jurassic Express. There really wasn't much about this other than, MJF and Butcher and Blade won. Do you think if they do a no audience show that MJF will just be like the happiest person ever because he won't have to look at a bunch of poor ugly people and worry about being infected by them?
That falls in line with his character. So yeah, I can see him having a field day with it.
If that's a character.
Yeah, that's true.
Have you seen
who he is in real life?
There's the guy who does the it'd be like more biographic videos for people, where he did one on MJF. Have you by any chance seen that?
No.
Because all right, so it starts out where MJF is just in like a normal house, and talking about like his family had some struggles and stuff like that growing up, and there's like so it's.
Oh,
you start to think that it's an out of character thing, but as the video goes on, like they play it like it turns into a mystery where he talks to one of the neighbor and they're like, "Oh yeah, that guy, no, he doesn't live there. What? He lives like in one of the gated communities or something. I don't know why he's over here. Like his family, like he would never normally be caught here." And it turns out he's trying to create a false narrative to seem like not a horrible person.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's hilarious to me. I didn't watch it like intently, but once I saw where I was like, oh, that's a pretty funny way to do that. But yeah, if like he's just in like he's super nice to everybody because he just doesn't have to deal with an audience. Like I would be entertained by something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, we got more Shivani and Britt Baker. Apparently, the crowd loves Big Swole.
Yeah.
I don't get it quite yet. Now, I did like her segment on being the elite, where she was talking about what was it? It was like raisins and potato salad.
Yes, I think that's what she said.
Is that a thing? Do people actually do that?
I don't know. That sounds disgusting.
Because if they are doing that, then I agree with her 100% that people need to stop doing that straight away.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she was, the crowd seemed to be super into her, so that's awesome for her.
I think because I went on her Twitter and she's a huge X-Men Storm fan.
Yeah.
And then I looked at her gear. Yeah, it resembles it resembles Storm. I was like, oh, okay. So
is that why the hair's the current color, the silverish?
Maybe she's going for going for
not a
Storm.
bad look.
Yep.
Her hair is super long too. All right, we got. I mean, there's not much to say to that other than Britt Baker's doing Britt Baker stuff.
Yeah, they did the Cedric Alexander thing, and then they did the Bay Adam Cole thing. So yeah. Shawn Michaels. It freaks me out how much in the face Adam Cole looks like Shawn Michaels sometimes. Like due to it's basically like a dude who has like dark hair with 5 o'clock shadow at times. But sure.
I was watching some of the old Being the Elite stuff when Adam Cole was on it, and it makes me like him more.
Sure.
Like basically, if you're on Being the Elite, it seems I end up liking you.
Elevates you.
I guess so. I mean, it's because you see like a different side of people. Just like Sammy's blog makes me more into Sammy than the rest. I still want him to lose because I can't stand him. Like he's a jerk. But when you watch his vlog, it's like, oh, he's not a bad guy, but I can't stand him when he's in character, or however you want to view, like, which is probably the way it's supposed to be. All right, so we got the new group, Death Triangle.
Oh yeah.
Did you have any doubt in the world that they were going to win this match?
No.
Okay, me either. Like. It was basically Private Party and Joey Janela were sacrificial lambs on this one. So they did a really weird thing at the end where they stacked them all up and put them in some weird brutalizer contraption.
Yeah, that would be my complaint about this match. I'm like, well, what is this?
That needs to
it
never
look weird.
That either needs to never happen again, or they need to figure out how to make that look better.
Yeah, it didn't look right.
You know what would prevent that from happening? Is if they had some action figures to work with and see and go from there. So they need to hurry up on these AEW figures. Either way, they win. We get to basically this is where you find out Hangman's mystery partner pretty much, where Dustin's like, whether you like it or not, I'm going to be your partner, and it does make sense. Not very exciting, but whatever. I mean, Dustin is a cowboy pretty much, who paints half his face weirdly. I'd like to see him
cowboy
just be like,
that doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like him to go to the old natural look. I mean, he can wear like long tights or whatever he wants, but I don't know. But again, I have.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm weird about gear
the natural
that people wear.
The natural look would look good in AEW, but whatever. Right. What do I know?
I mean, he probably I mean, there is more markability to that. I have something. Try to remind me about the revival when we're through this part.
Gotcha.
So they did a interview with Jim Ross and Moxley at probably Moxley's home. Who knows? Talking about how Hager hit him harder than he's ever been hit. And then talking about where the inner circle is now focused on the elite. So that's bad news because if they're not paying attention to him, basically he's not forgotten what happened.
Yeah.
So we get from that, which I thought that was a fine interview. It makes it, Moxley's not done with the inner circle by any means. But yeah, so we're going to get to our main event, which is going to be Hangman and Dustin against Sammy and Jericho. So Paige still super over.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
did you see his it was on Instagram. I'm sure he did it on Twitter too. His rules now for drinking beer.
Yes, the thing where did you see at the top where it says this was written by some AEW crony or something? I forget the wording of it. But then he has like a whole bunch of stuff. Like he's only going to drink certain beer, but he's probably going to be moving to whiskey in hopes of the higher alcohol content. But he won't be taking. Like I thought that was really funny. I also liked when he had came out to the ring initially, where his I guess his Flair or whatever it is was like hasn't even talked to Dustin Rhodes today. So I still haven't noticed anyone else getting super weird ones like he does. So I guess that's just his now.
That's his thing, I guess. Yeah,
which is brilliant.
Now, before we go further with this, who do you think has a better thing with the Steve Corino thing? Mm-hmm. Adam Page's the no drinking beer thing or whatever, or Braun Strowman's wash these hands.
That is close. Ooh. I mean, both are awesome.
Yeah.
I will say, and this has got something we might talk about later. I would not. There's not a current Adam Page shirt that I would buy to wear. Mm-hmm. I like the designs, but not for a shirt. A wash these hands shirt, I might buy that and wear it.
Yes,
because that's pretty awesome. So I think I have to give the edge to Braun.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing too.
I'm also a pretty big fan of Braun. So that helps
Braun's
too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean Page is right there. He just got to give me a shirt that I want to wear. And then it's over from there.
To be fair, you're not a cowboy. Maybe that's why you can't get into his shirts.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just shirts that I would never wear. Just like I'm a big Moxley fan. His shirts are awful, in my opinion. Like as far as a shirt that I would just wear out to like the amusement park, I'm not wearing one of those. So that was like my Dean Malenko shirt that's got like the really cool thing on the front, but then the back has huge eyes of ice. It's like, man, I could, if it was just the front, it'd be so much better. All right. So was there anything other, like this match was pretty much what you thought it would be, or at least it was for me. So poor freaking Sammy just gets obliterated week after week by moves.
Yes.
Like, that big boot looked painful.
The only thing I took from this is when Matt came out and was doing his little thing where he, taking out all the guys. Jericho, man, he just goes up and just smacks him with that little chair.
Right.
And I was like, did he actually hit him in the head like Jericho? I don't know. It almost seemed like
there's one, like, he gets his right hand up, I think, but it was away from the camera. But also because Jericho actually hit the camera with the chair on the way up, and it gave it that the shaky cam effect. So I think it made it look a lot. It happened to look a lot worse than it was, I think.
Gotcha, yeah.
But it's hard to tell.
Either way, it looked cool. It was a great sound and visual. So.
Right. Well, and the whole Matt basically doing the same thing, coming out, saving everybody, and then just going out of his way to flip Hangman off.
Yes.
Like, that furthers that whole thing, and it's awesome. And then I did like did you see where Paige on Twitter was asking if it was for F's sake or, like, the correct phrase of that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right. And then he had that up with where he was going to be in the War Games match after, and then you see Being the Elite where he was like, I don't want, leave me alone.
Yes. Yes.
So,
yeah.
pretty good stuff there. But for the revival.
The revival?
Yeah,
Yep.
So I guess Dash has trademarked a name Cash with his actual last name. And then
Cash
people were
Wheeler.
yeah. So people were like, well, why wouldn't he just use his actual name at that point? And my thought, and we'll find out, is if I tell you to draw a design for Dan Wheeler or Cash Wheeler, who do you think you're going to have an easier time to make a cool design for? Because I can come up with a lot of ideas for Cash Wheeler than I can for Dan. So
It's true. Yeah.
that is my thought, is he realized the name Dan is very boring, and Cash gives an awful lot of options. You can go Johnny Cash route, you can do like dollar bill stuff.
Well, it's also the name he used in the Indies, too, wasn't it?
Not a clue. So at the one takeover where Shinsuke debuted at WrestleMania Star or whatever it was, where I was in the filthy, disgusting Dallas Cowboys Stadium for that one, we were at that NXT. I was along the crowd chanting, which one's Dash, which one's Dawson, because I did not know at that time.
Gotcha.
Much like if you listen back to older episodes, I had a hard time telling the Young Bucks apart.
Yes.
Not as embarrassing as the time where I couldn't figure out the difference between Cody and Dustin, but that's not real. But that would be funny if I'm just gonna start confusing them.
It's not as bad as me, because I thought Cody was actually Dustin's son, and then I realized that Cody
That's not
and
at
Dustin.
all.
Yes. I was like, oh okay.
Wow. Well, I mean, you are kind of like the super lapsed fan in a way for quite a while there. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, because I never know, like, if I bring up WWE stuff, you very likely have no idea what I'm going to be talking about. Because there's, like, a decade that you apparently didn't watch wrestling at all.
It was it was that time, man, when basically WCW was dead. And then WWE was doing the thing. I for whatever reason, I just lost interest in it. So for 12 years, I don't think I didn't watch any of it. So,
all right. So we had talked about this briefly, and I figured we should just run through it because AEW did put some new shirts out. Mm-hmm. And since we talk way more about our opinions on wrestlers' gear and fashion than we probably should, figure we'll just lean into that a little bit. So, out of the new shirts that they did, are there any that you actually like?
I like the new shirts.
Yeah. To start with.
Oh, the AEW St. Patrick's Day shirt's probably the only one I like out of that.
Yeah, they got the green and white basically. I
Yeah.
do like seems like it's a women's shirt. The Brandy shirt, I do like the design of that,
Okay. Yeah.
but I think that's in women's style based on the V-neck and the fit of it. But I like the design because it's just like the Nightmare style logo on a shirt. Like I think that's fine. Death Triangle, like their shirt, it's kind of cool, but not something I would wear. It seems like you could do a little bit more with that design, but whatever.
Yes.
There's the I Hate MJF shirt, which is fine, but I'm never gonna wear that. Dustin got
Yeah,
the
because I don't want people going like, you hate MJF. Who's this MJF that you hate?
right. Yeah, he is definitely not at the level to know who it's hating yet, but yeah, for the most part, like some of the new stuff, like a lot of their shirts, they're not bad, but like scrolling through here, obviously if you're just listening to audio,
Circle,
the cross
Inner
one
Circle, Guns N' Roses
style
shirt looks good.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this on audio, we're looking at ProWrestlingTees.com, and it is the AEW t-shirt section. So if you're on YouTube, obviously you're seeing what I'm scrolling through. But there's also the Pharaoh shirt that is the what's it called? Metal Gear. I don't have the sound effect currently, or I would play it for Metal Gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the shirts they're not all that fantastic, but I'm picky on the shirts that I wear. Where is it? Peter Avalon, I think, is my favorite shirt because it's like the Reading Rainbow kind of style thing for him, and it's also the distress style. And actually, like the Big Swole shirt isn't bad, so hopefully I'll get into her. I could see wearing maybe that shirt at some point. And then you got the Orange Cassidy shirt.
I'm going to say that's probably the best.
I like that.
I like.
It's
personally.
super simple. So. But yeah, and then you got, there's like the other stuff they have. Like they have some good designs, but some of them it's like I'd rather have the design like a poster or something. I would like to say that I think Darby's shirts are just dreadful because it's like just like I need you to read a paragraph for this.
Yeah.
And then it's just let's see if there's anything. Or it's like his giant face with all of his tattoos on it, and then a clickable link to his website or something. Like, I don't know.
I would say Penelope Ford has the worst shirt ever.
Hold on, I'm scrolling
I don't
back up.
Like that thing at all.
Is that the one where she's standing on it the whole way, or?
Yeah, she's just standing. Yeah.
I can't find it. I've probably passed it, but yeah. So that's our t-shirt review for right now.
Well.
Yeah, because like Hangman has like where it's like the hold my beer and all that stuff, but the logos are just gigantic. I like it more like the chest height size logo, and then that basically being the end of it. So all right, so we got that. So we were going to talk about TV show stuff because you have watched movies, and I have a show that I want to watch that I haven't gotten around to yet. So you want to go to that?
Sure.
All right. Here we go. I'll let you know when the bumper's over.
Okay.
Something that could never ever possibly destroy us. Mr. Stay Puft.
You chose poorly. You have chosen wisely.
Okay. So you said you have spent the week watching an entire saga, basically?
Pretty much, yes. I was watching all the Avengers movies.
So did you go all the way back to like Iron Man 1? Or just the Avengers themselves?
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, so I only watched the Avengers movies. Yes.
Okay.
I had to go back and watch every...
Right.
That'd be a lot of watching.
Well, I was curious if you had just be like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do all week.
However, I would say for maybe like a month ago, I rewatched all the Iron Man movies. It still makes me mad what they did to the Mandarin, but
yeah,
yeah.
Well, I mean, at least they added the scene at the end where they go in and they're mad at him for pretending to be the Mandarin.
Yeah.
to at least
it,
leave it open that the Mandarin could exist.
yeah, it just makes me
So
mad.
now that like some time has passed and you watch them all in rapid succession,
Yeah.
has your opinion changed on the overall Infinity Gauntlet story, or?
No. I mean, well, yeah. If you go back and watch the first Avengers movie and then all the way up to the last one,
Yeah,
they really changed Thanos' storyline a little bit.
like as far as
I don't know. It just seemed like it was a different character. Like, because the first character they show in the Avengers movie
yeah,
is he's just sitting in his chair and he has like, it's almost like he has like a council people
right,
on Titan, like giving the directions of how, like ultimately Thanos is like the guy, but there's also like another council there that's like giving out the orders. So
yeah, and they went
obviously
away,
changed that.
right. Well, yeah, that's for sure because he ended up being the main everything, the be all end all
Yeah.
to it. Which I think that's how it was in the comics, but I could be wrong. So maybe they started with something where we're like, we'll just let this guy do his thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But are you still pleased with it though as a full story?
Yeah, I think it holds up.
You know what my favorite part is? When
What?
Thanos wins.
You know what? I was telling my wife that I always get sad when the good guys win, especially when it's such a good bad guy.
Well, they
You're
gave
like,
him
"Oh."
like obviously he was twisted in it, but they gave him a legitimate I think an understandable reason. Like his intentions were clearly good. He was insane and going about it the wrong way, but he actually did have like a good intent. So,
Yes, yeah, and that's the funny thing about it because sometimes the character doesn't really follow that mindset. Sometimes,
right.
you know.
Well, I mean, it's what
Well,
makes a
like,
good bad guy is when they can easily justify it to themselves.
sure. Because like the first Avengers movie, I'm not really understanding what the whole point of sending Loki to New York was. You know,
They wanted to put Loki in New York.
I guess, but he gave him a time stone, and the whole point of what Thanos was trying to do was get time stones, or whatever they're called, soul stones or whatever.
Right.
And he
Yeah.
gave Loki one. So
Yeah,
I was like, well, I thought you were trying to collect. I don't know. That's my only issue with it.
maybe it was an error. But yeah, so you'd like so after watching them all, do you think you still need to watch all of it, or can you just watch the last two?
Yeah, I think the last two sums up pretty good. So I don't think you need to power watch
All of it.
all 20
Okay.
of them or whatever.
So, yeah, I probably will. I don't know. I might watch one of them again, but it's unlikely. I mean, I don't. There's very few movies that I watch multiple times. So now there is a series that I did not even realize the third season was out, and that is on Netflix, Castlevania. Now it's funny because I didn't realize season 2 came out until way after the fact. I don't know if these guys have like no marketing whatsoever, or I'm just so far away from the Netflix sphere of knowledge to even know that it was out. But have you watched any of Castlevania?
No. And the main reason is because the art style I just can't get into.
Really?
So it might be a really good show. I don't know, but the art style to me is just hideous looking. I can't get into it.
So like when it comes to like animation or just outright cartoon, regardless of story or whatever else, like the animation actually will throw you that far off?
Yep.
Huh. What did you think? I'm trying to think of a comparison, but the best I can come up with is, do you remember for World of Warcraft, they did the Warlords trailers basically, where each of the villains basically had like their own little story that was like that almost like it was animated, but not really, where it was like still shots that would have like effects done to it.
Mm-hmm.
So is that like an art style that you were okay with?
Yeah, because I think Blizzard did a good job of telling the story there. You know what I'm saying?
And then like that art style wasn't jarring enough to throw you off of it, I guess, or
No, that didn't bother me.
Okay. So yeah, no, I was just trying to see, because I mean, obviously, you know, people are going to have different tastes and styles as to what they like or what they find strange, but I do think it's a little bit weird of a style at times, but I have no problem with it because I enjoyed the story. I know in season 2 they actually used some of the Castlevania music, so I don't think they did, because you got Vampire Killer is one of the traditional songs. I don't think that was in season 1 at all, or until the very end. But yeah, so I've watched the first 2 seasons, really enjoyed them. So I'm probably going to be watching this once I get done watching Dean Malenko's seminar. I'll probably start up Castlevania and watch the 3rd season. So I've only heard a couple people talk about it. Apparently I'm in for some animated nudity at some point.
Yes.
Whether that's a good thing or not, I do not know. But we'll see. So I do wish they did longer seasons, because I think season 1 was like 4 episodes, and then like, there's just not a lot of episodes to it. But they basically like they're telling a story, and then once that story's done, they end it and move on.
Yeah.
So
I did watch Spider-Man, the newer Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Homecoming and the one with Mysterio. I don't know what that was called.
Far From Home.
The one where they go to Far From Home. Yeah, both of those are really good. I like the villains in it. Vulture, I didn't think they could do a good Vulture.
Yeah.
And it's because they have Michael Keaton. I don't know, but
they ended up surprising you.
Yeah, it's really good.
I still haven't seen either one of those, so it's on my list to watch because I want to. But I remember when they said Vulture as the villain, I was just like, huh? Because not the most exciting villain. So, but there's not prior versions of it, so you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah, I think you'll be very happy with it because the way they set up, especially since Spider-Man is Venom universe, I guess.
Right.
The whole Sinister Six. I guess they're using all these villains in the Sinister Six movie coming.
But are they going to do what they always do, where? Because I know for Spider-Man 3 they got Michael J. Fox, because it's going to be Spider-Man 3 Homeward Bound. And no, I'm making that up. It's just the only way I could come up with to get like, because I got Homecoming, Far From Home, do Homeward Bound, you put Michael J. Fox in it as a character. It's perfect. Because he did the dog's voice, right? Yes. You know, like, because every time you get to the 3rd Spider-Man movie, or sometimes the 2nd, like, you know what he needs? Even though he's not the most overpowered superhero, we need to give him like 9 or 10 villains to fight in one movie, and just blow everything up and ruin it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a way you could do it. I don't know if you put Venom in there. So I mean, there might be a lot of stuff happening in there. So I don't know.
That's what they keep doing. Like, I don't understand why they always do it to Spider-Man, where they just overload the movie with villains for some reason.
Well, that's how the cartoon was.
Yeah, but it's the cartoon. Like that. Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that the live action needs to follow it.
Sure. You will like how the Far From Home ends. It's pretty good.
Okay. Do they do a good job with Mysterion?
Yeah. See, that's another character I didn't think they was going to be able to do very well, because if anyone knows that character, he doesn't have powers. He's just
special effects guy, basically.
Special effects guy, and they do a really good job with that character. So.
Well, it sounds like, because I've heard like people discuss it, and it seems like they do a really good job of kind of making it work, like how it would be realistic for that world. So
Well, and they do a really good job with tying, especially since this is Sony. They do a really good job of tying it into the Avengers universe.
okay, so yeah, it's still all intertwined.
Yeah, yeah. So Thanos is in it. Well, he's not in it, but his what he did was
Yeah, like
present
they talk
in the
about
movie.
it.
Yeah.
You know what I've noticed during this episode
What?
is since I'm looking at myself on a camera occasionally,
Yeah.
is that I am horrible about touching my face, and Steve Carino is going to come for me.
Yes.
Like I just can't not like as we're talking about it, I'm catching myself doing it again.
So what you should do is, since you're all about making videos, get a bottle of hand sanitizer, just dump it on your face, and
No,
just rub the sanitizer all over you.
no, that's not. There's no reason to do that. I should get the cone of shame, but for myself.
Yeah.
Like for the dogs, I've seen some comics about that, but yeah. So maybe I'll add that to my list if I get for real quarantined or something. Catch up on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy it.
All right. Do you have anything for video game stuff that you desire to talk about this week?
Not really. I didn't. Me, other than playing Conan Exiles, I didn't really do anything.
Right.
So.
Yeah, because all I did was I played Undermine still, which I'm surprised at how fun that game is. I played Brawl Stars more, but there's not really not a lot to talk about on either of those fronts, so might as well skip that. Yeah, so I think we could probably end it here then.
I think we're good.
All right. Well, we will do that. I don't have an outro to hit, so I'll have to add that later on in life. But
I will say this to people who are still listening to us:
yes.
do not let Steve Carino rule your life. Live your life, and yeah, don't live in fear.
Don't listen to Solomon. Go buy all the toilet paper that you possibly can.
It's so weird. I don't understand why.
Right, so this is the end of the show.
People
So
are
instead
just
of doing
buying.
video games, I want to talk about going to the grocery store real quick, if that's okay with you.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I went to the grocery store because we were going to record earlier, but you had some stuff come up. So we pushed it back, and I was like, well, you know what? I can actually get up and get dressed for the day and run out to the store real quick. And I was like, you know what? I am good. Like, my intent was to pick up a 12-pack of toilet paper. You know, for a household with 2 people, that's pretty reasonable stocking up, I think. And I went into the store, so the store I went to is a Myers. There's, at the entrance I went into is catty corner from where the toilet paper is. Because I needed to pick up some Alka-Seltzer and a new scrubby for shower time, because I use one of the scrubby things. And I notice everyone I'm passing as I'm slowly making my way over to the grocery side has single packs, like the 4-pack of toilet paper, but they're stacked up. Like they're playing Death Stranding or something. And I'm like, this is what I heard people talking about. This is what I've seen on TV and on Reddit and Twitter. Surely that's not going to be my mire. The people in my town are clearly better than that.
Yeah.
And then I got to that aisle, and there is nothing. The flushable wipes are completely gone. I believe some people took part of the display with it, because there were pieces, the plastic piece in the back that pushes stuff forward. That was gone. Yeah. So I think they were just buying the display to go with it. I got the next to last roll of paper towels. Yeah. There was no toilet paper to be had. There was almost no milk to be had.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. So, as I'm walking down some of the aisles, looking for different things, there's just nothing. There's no ramen noodles.
Yep.
They're just gone.
They were all going up. Yep.
Now, what worries me is if chicken and beef ramen noodles are gone, understandable. When the shrimp ramen noodles are gone, things are bad. People are panicking if all the shrimp-flavored ramen noodles are gone.
Yes.
So, but all the bottled water is gone. Now, the gallons of water, there's still plenty of those.
Yeah. Well, because we're Americans. We're still lazy. We don't want to have to pour it into a cup. We just want a bottle.
There was no like frozen pizza, gone, decimated. Zero chance. I was trying to find the WWE ice cream sandwiches. No chance of finding anything like that. As everywhere I see pictures, it's always like there's always the vegan, vegetarian option foods.
Tofu.
All that stuff's still there. What was it? I just wanted to get some chicken breast, but I had to end up buying frozen chicken breast. So, which I guess is fine, but I did buy, they sell them in like the 12-pound bag or whatever is like the big bag. Or is it 8 pound? I don't know. It's a bunch of chicken, but it was like $12. And I was like, well, I'll buy one of these and one of the small ones just to be on the safe side, I guess. But, I mean, that's like 2 bags of chicken, and that's not like a hot item. So I don't feel like I'm hoarding in any way. I just want to be able to eat this week.
Dude, I saw a lady have a cart filled to the top with nothing but dog food. And then she had, I guess, her husband or kid or I don't know, pushing right next to her, like all the food that they were going to eat. But I'm like, why do you have a cart full of dog food? I mean, is that going to be your last resort, or?
I guess. Well, like we have like 3 small dogs, but I'll get like the smaller size food bag, and it usually lasts like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So, I can't and maybe, and it sounds like you're kind of on the same page as me. I can't see a world where we're thrown into such chaos that we need months and months worth of dog food. Maybe I'll be Maybe we'll be looking back on this and be like, well, we were wrong, but I'd rather not panic.
For me, because I buy my dog food, Chewy.com, so I get my dog food
shipped
delivered.
to you.
So. Yeah, so.
You know what I wish I would have started about 6 months ago?
What?
Toilet Paper of the Month Club.
Well, I did find it funny that there's a guy, and we probably should have talked about this, but I'll just skim over it. I guess a guy was just going around in his area buying all the toilet paper and like hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
I guess. So he was just buying like massive amounts of it. And then when all this happened, he goes on his Amazon store, I guess, and was just price gouging it. Well, Amazon found out about it, and they basically just canceled his account.
Right.
So now and I guess this news agency did a report about it. His garage is filled with all this toilet paper and hand sanitizer that he can sell.
You know what you do now? One is you don't be a jerk, basically.
Yes.
Because he was clearly, like, that's the dirty side of capitalism for sure, right there.
Oh yeah.
But,
oh yeah.
So if you're in that situation, why are you not renting an ice cream truck and going around selling toilet paper?
Yes.
Because you know what? People are going to buy it.
Just park outside your grocery store and just say, hey, I got the toilet paper. I got it.
Now, I would go to much nicer areas if I'm going to do that, where I'm less likely to get people who are like, you know what? You're a piece of trash. We're going to take the toilet paper. Because that's actually what you deserve at that point.
Yes.
Because you were pretty much creating shortages on purpose.
Yep.
So, not a fan of that. Now, it's one thing if you bought, like, a few extra and you sell a couple for some extra money. That's fine. But apparently my line is somewhere between trying to make a few bucks and just a total shortage.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just... it's funny to me.
Well, I just don't get the like. And again, maybe we're dumb. Like that could be it. Is that we are on the dumb side of this thing, and we're not panicking. Because like my panicking is like, I bought 2 bags of frozen chicken breasts. I wanted to buy, like the boxes of vegetables where it's like the steamer bags in them.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to buy that. They have an antioxidant blend, where it's like red peppers, cucumbers, broccoli, things like that. They didn't have any of that, so I had to settle for honey glazed carrots and buttered broccoli in the little box.
Yeah.
Not what I wanted. I was very disappointed.
Sure.
They only had like 4 of each of those, So I took 3 of them and left 1 for somebody else.
No, Ross, you take them all.
Wow.
You take them all.
It was funny because I sat there, I was like, do I leave 1? Is that better or worse? And then I just bought them, and I was like, there's a chance I'm not even going to eat these vegetables when I make the chicken. But, so, all right. I just had to talk about, because I expected it. I saw it. But I couldn't believe that it would actually happen until I was in the store, and it was like, the things that were sold out were bizarre to me.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just see stuff on the internet and you're like, no, humanity is better than this, right? this has to be made up. And then you see it and you're like, wow.
The toilet paper thing is just the most bizarre part.
Yes, I will agree.
Like, of all...
Well, and that's
like, if
another
you're
thing.
so sick you're not eating...
Well, that's the other thing about it. I mean, I understand if the Steve Carino virus there gave you massive amounts of diarrhea or something. I can understand maybe the toilet paper, but I'm not understand. That's not one of the symptoms, so I don't understand.
Right?
I don't get it. I don't get it.
No freaking clue. But
Don't get it.
Hopefully everything goes on and life gets back to normal. If not, I mean, we'll just keep doing the podcast over the internet.
If humanity survived the Black Plague, I'm pretty sure we could survive the Steve Carino. So
maybe.
Yeah.
We'll find out, I suppose. But either way, we'll probably be here next week in some form or the other. So.
Yes.
All right. So I'm missing bumpers, so we're just gonna call that. And I'm going to hit the stop button.
Just call it.
Here we
Just
go.
call it. Have a good